Hey, thanks so much for joining me. Welcome to the second episode of Rise and More Reinventing After 50. So, you know that most of the time I am talking to women over 50, but I think that this episode we need to dive into something that I've seen as a coach for a really long time that hampers people from seeing results. So, if you're stuck in a plateau, or you are not seeing results, or you're not really sure where to start, this is the starting place for sure. And this is the place that most people often skip over. Why do they skip over it? Because the bells and whistles and the attraction of, oh my gosh, like I can get this result in this X amount of time. We're always focused on that result. Okay. So, again, welcome to episode two. This is Rise and More Reinventing After 50. I am your host, Nora Sabolsky. For those of you who don't know me, I am a transformation coach based on Long Island. I have a large online business and as well as an in-person business out of my studio in on Long Island. Okay. So I've been coaching for a really long time. I'm coaching for about 15 years. All of these episodes and the advice that I'm coming to you with is from a long and experienced road that I have had as a coach. All right. So let's kind of jump in and let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. So, um, I think that everybody gets stuck, right, at a certain point in their life. Um, this point might be a little boring and a little woo-woo, but it's totally needed. If you're constantly restarting your plan or stuck in a plateau where you can't see results, okay, let's talk about the real reason you keep spinning your wheels. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am very blunt and very to the point. So, you're not going to get a whole lot of bullshit from me. You're not going to get a whole lot of like dumb information that you won't, you're just going to get tried and true methods, things that I've seen women do time and time again, and men do time and time again that just sabotage themselves, that just screw themselves up. Okay. I also tend to use a lot of analogies so that you guys can see it and visualize it in your head. All right. So let's dive in. Let's get real. If you tried to build a business the way most women try to lose weight, you would be bankrupt in a month, right? Think about it. So, would you launch a company with no business plan, no long-term strategy, and hope for the best? You probably wouldn't do that, but that's exactly how most women approach their fitness, their wellness, and weight loss. You jump into the latest diet, you slash your calories, you hit the gym hard for a few weeks, and then burnout. No vision, no structure, just desperation for quick results. And I saw this. I worked for a huge company. I had, up to 60 clients on my roster. And I saw this time and time again. People sign up, women sign up for programs, right? Having the best intentions. They have the best intentions. They're like, this is it. This is the year. I'm going to hit it hard. I'm going to do all of these things. And then all of a sudden they drop off. Because here's the thing, the first month or the first 90 days or whatever, like while you're seeing progress or while you're changing your life, it's very exciting. But to stay in the game for as long as you have to really see continued results, continued success, that's where it gets really boring. Okay. So let's tie this back to an actual science because people are obsessed with the science of achievement. They're obsessed with hitting a number on scale, grinding through workouts, chasing short-term wins without ever considering the other piece to that, which is the art of fulfillment. This is the part that actually makes your results sustainable. The science of achievement is goal oriented, right? It's about setting a target, checking a box, lose 20 pounds, fit into those jeans, stick to this diet, blah, 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 blah. And this is how you're marketed to. Okay. This is every marketing strategy on the planet. Um, as a matter of fact, like I've been in so many business coaching groups where they talk about like most people, like you have to have those buzzwords, like in your stories. You have to talk about weight loss. You have to talk about, um, you know, inches off the waist. You have to talk about the butt. You have to talk about the butt workouts, all that stuff. But those are all just tiny, tiny pieces of a transformation that you want to take a lifetime. So most women only focus on achievement and they ignore the fulfillment part, which is why they keep starting over. They want a quick fix, right? Instead of building their future self over time. Today, we're just going to flip that mindset. We're going to talk about why vision matters more than motivation, why systems beat willpower, and how to stop treating fitness like a side hustle and start treating it like a long-term successful business. Okay, so I told you I love to use analogies. Let's talk about the business of your body. Again, would you start a business without a plan? Of course you wouldn't. But most women try to get fit with zero long-term strategy. Let's break this down, right? Let's break it down into a strategy. Crash dieting is like launching a business with no funding and no infrastructure. You get an idea, right? You burn yourself out when it doesn't work in 30 days and you quit. Nobody builds a thriving company overnight. I, of all people, should know that because I was building my business, the whole thing of coming online, building a podcast like this, working from home when I don't have a company behind me driving it. I have kids just like you guys do. I have 6 kids, as a matter of fact. So if I let, I'm really good at getting my workouts in. Obviously, that's why I'm a trainer, but I'm really bad at the business end of it. And like, if something else happens that, is in the moment or is more fulfilling in the short term, somebody asked me to go to lunch. I'm like, oh yeah, like let me go to lunch, let me go network. Um, but my long-term strategy of business, I cannot do that, right? Nobody builds a thriving company overnight. So why would your body be any different? Okay. So as much as now I'm teaching you guys about the business of your body, I'm teaching myself about the business of business. So success in business and fitness comes from a clear vision, a clear vision. Who do you want to be in 6 months or in a year? Then you need a long-term strategy that's going to support that, right? What's sustainable for your body and your lifestyle? This is why inside my program, I have people that are working with me for a solid year, right? Because we're developing lifestyles. We're developing how do they eat through the holidays? How do they, like all of these things that come up? How do they develop new strategies for dealing with these things that are coming up and stick to a plan where they're getting results? Right? That's the difference between a trainer and a coach. If you're not talking to the person that you're relying on for workouts or whatever, listen, something's going to come up. Your kids are going to get sick, whatever. You're not going to be able to get to the gym. Um, if you're retired, right? How many times do your friends go out to lunch, or you have a bunch of friends that aren't into the same transformative goals that you have, right? And when those things happen, you're coming out of it because it's really, really hard, right? You need that long-term strategy, what's sustainable for your body and your lifestyle, because I don't want you saying no to your friends asking you to go to lunch. We just want to develop a strategy. You also are going to need strong systems that work together, like much like a business, right? We need all of these employees underneath us that are working for us, that are helping us build all of those different aspects of our business. Let's say marketing, right? Let's say the sales portion. Let's say the back of house, all of those things. You need these strong systems that work together for you because you need these habits that compound over time, not a detox that wrecks your metabolism. Crash diets, detoxes wreck your metabolism. If you don't have these three things, guys, your clear vision, a long-term strategy, strong systems that work together, excuse me, you'll keep starting over. All right. So let's again talk about something. It's probably not unique to Rise and Roar to my business, but it's pretty unique in how I approach my clients, okay? Because I think that so many women dive into what they're going to eat, or so many women dive into what they're going to do for their workouts, and they don't realize that they have to kind of put all these things together, okay? You don't just go on a diet, you build a foundation, again, like a business. So let's talk about these systems. That way, if you are writing notes, take some notes here, but let's discuss the 4 systems that need to be in place. Okay. Every successful business has these key pillars that keep it running smoothly. And these are going to be the 4 key pillars to your body, your wellness, and your transformation. So the number one, the first system is macros. You want to be able to fuel for the long haul. The business equivalent of this is thinking about your cash flow, right? No fuel, no cash flow, no growth. No fuel in your body, no protein, you're not going to build those muscles. Okay, you wouldn't underfund your business and expect it to thrive. And the same thing goes for your metabolism. You can't expect it to thrive if you're under eating. I saw this so many times when I was working in this online company with my 60 clients. I would say maybe 10% of them were eating normal amounts of food. The rest of them were severely under eating. Okay. And again, I'm not going to bring, I would say the minimum that I want anyone eating is 1,200 calories, but I'm not, as a coach, this is why it's so important, I think, for women to be coached through this, because I'm not going to start somebody who's been at 800 calories forever and bring her right up to 1,200. Okay. So just know when I'm talking macros and fueling for the long haul, yes, you want to be at 1,200 calories. Yes, you want to be eating your ideal body weight in protein. Okay. But you can't just start doing that. You have to track your food for like a week, 2 weeks to know where you're starting from. And then you're gradually going to increase your calories until you come up. You can't just increase your calories and expect not to gain weight. Most people do that. They'll come up to 1,200 calories and they'll gain like 2 pounds and they freak out, right? So that stops them in their tracks. All right, but I divert. So if macros is the first pillar that we need in our business, in our transformation, the second one is movement. This is about being active with intention, right? The business equivalent of this is your daily operations. Your daily operations in a business are what keep that machine running smoothly. Okay. The same thing goes true for your body. All right. People dive into workouts. Let's say that they were big time walkers, right? I saw this a lot too. People were big time walkers or big time cardio bunnies, and they got into their workouts, and people were like, oh my gosh, you have to lift, you have to blah, blah, blah. And then they stop all outside movement because they got to get in an hour of working out. All right. Not happening. Guys, listen, we are coming into, we're like 50, some of us are going into empty nesting, some of us are thinking about retirement. Um, there's so many hours in a day. A workout is 1 hour. You need to be active for those other, let's say you're awake for 12 hours a day. You need to be active for those other 11 hours. If you do still have a stagnant job, this involves getting something like a, walking treadmill for under your desk, something like that. But thinking about or going out, every hour, walking around the office every hour, going out on your lunch break, going for a walk, those kind of things. Okay. Movement is not punishment, it's a necessary function of a well-run body. So while other people will tell you absolutely no cardio, listen, I don't want the staple of your program to be cardio because we know that lifting, and I'm going to get into that. But people who tell you that you don't need cardio for a successful plan after 50 are wrong. Okay. And I don't mean like cardio. I mean fat burning. Like walking is one of the most underrated cardio um, ways to get in cardio. All right. So we have macros is your first pillar, movement is your second pillar. Your third pillar is muscle. Okay. This is the real asset you need to build. The business equivalent, when we're running a business, the business equivalent of this is investing in infrastructure. Okay. In your workouts, actually, it's not even during your workouts. During our workouts, we're actually tearing muscle fibers in the gym. Muscle isn't actually built until the day after. Most people don't know that, but muscle is actually built in recovery when your body goes back to repair those tears. That's how you get these beautiful cuts, right? So, muscle is metabolic gold, right? It balances your hormones. It protects your bones. It gives you more energy. It improves your metabolism. It does all of these things. It wards off autoimmunes. It is almost like the purifier, the detox for your body, but it's a natural thing that you have. You just have to build. Okay. The more muscle you have, the better your body runs. It's as simple as that. Okay. The fourth pillar that we need is mindset. We need to go from that achievement mindset. How much weight do I stand to lose? Because you will lose it, right? To um, who am I becoming? What habits am I instilling? What am I changing about my life that's going to make me healthy for the long term? Okay, mindset. The business equivalent is the difference between building a job and building a legacy. If you only focus on the next 30 days, 90 days, even the year with me, you'll always be restarting. You want to shift to that lifetime approach because life is going to throw you things over the course of time that, you know, will threaten to make you quit, will threaten to just keep you stuck. So let's talk about that. Why do most women stay stuck? Why do so many women fail to reach their goals? Because they think success is about working harder instead of working smarter. Okay. They think that chasing quick wins is the way to go, when chasing quick wins leads to burnout. Building the future you leads to lasting transformation. So, again, you don't need another diet. You don't need another 90-day workout plan or a quick whatever. You need a vision and then you need a strategy. You have to stop grinding through crash diets like an overworked entrepreneur trying to make a quick buck. Instead, build a body that works for you, not against you. All right. And here's the thing, when I'm doing the things that work for clients that I have within my business is that we take before and after pictures every week. Okay. We talk about macros. If they're reaching a certain plateau, I always want to bring them out of that plateau. So the other thing is thinking about it in terms of this. There are four planets that you want to travel to. And I think I talked about this in my first podcast episode, but I'm going to talk about it again here. Four planets in this fitness wellness space, over 50, under 50. It's really for everybody, right? You got eat less, exercise less. So if you're sick or on vacation or not moving around a lot, you're going to eat less, right? That makes total sense to people. You're going to eat less, exercise more. Hello, this is where most women always get stuck. Again, working harder, not smarter, right? Because they think the more exercise they do and the less they eat, the better results they'll see. And that's where they really F up their metabolism completely. Okay. So you've all been to this exercise more, eat less planet. It's time to travel to the other planets. Exercise less, eat less. So when you're exercising less, you need to eat less. Duh. That's how you get a calorie deficit. How about exercise more and eat more? So when I'm having those great, I always say, around the holidays, around my birthday, there's other periods in the year, but I love exercise more, eat more. Do I gain about 3 to 4 pounds, 5 pounds? I consider it like a build. Yes, I 100% do. But I know that it's a necessary evil for me to go to this planet because I exercise more and I eat more and I'm building my metabolism. I don't think about it as like building my body. I think about it as building my metabolism and giving my metabolism the same training that I'm giving my muscles. Okay. Because your metabolism has got to be trained. So we just went to exercise more, eat more. And then there's a planet of exercise less and eat more. Okay. There's that planet as well. And I think that that's a great planet to go to because bringing in so many women who have been over exercising and really killing themselves almost, and in this exercise more and eat less, I want to bring them in, particularly like if I deal with clients who are like, I work out 5 times, 6 times, 7 times a week, which is kind of crazy. They don't take any recovery days, but they're also eating a significant low calorie diet. I like to bring them in to my program and have them start out with like eating more. Just learn to eat more. And I'm not saying like I'm not going to throw 600 calories at you, but we're going to gradually talk about it. We're going to see where your food is, right? Then we're going to increase you by 200 calories. Then we're going to kind of pause there. Then we're going to do it like when your body hits a plateau at those 200 calories. Because what you see is when you give your body more food, it actually takes about 2 weeks to adjust, but you see that adjustment of lower weight usually within that 2 week period, right? And for some of my clients, I was able to leave them there for a really long time. And then I would step them up once I kind of wrung out those different um, steps. So every 200-calorie increase was a step. But if their body kept losing weight, I didn't increase them by 200 calories. I waited till they hit that plateau and then I raised them after. Okay, so I think that when you don't have this long-term vision of what are you going to look like, when you finally get to your destination. Like for me, when I was going under the quick fix thing, it was always like, oh, I'm going to start living when I lose 10 pounds. I'm going to start living when I get to vacation. I'm going to have a really good time because I'm going to be down 6 pounds or I'm going to be down 7 pounds. And listen, guys, that doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there, right? Those are all those short term because on the way to vacation, you're making yourself miserable. You go on vacation, you're so happy, and then you come back to your miserable place again. It wasn't until I learned really how to incorporate those walks on the beach, walking with my dog, hiking with my friends, joining. I was the local ambassador for a group called Hiker Babes. It's a national organization, but going out to walk with a bunch of women for like 7 miles, 10 miles, you don't even know that you're doing it because you're hearing about everybody's stories, you're making friends, you're doing all of these things. So all of that has become such a part of my life that every day I'm creating more of that vision, right? Every time that I wake up, I'm creating more of that vision of now my life reflects like people who eat well, people who love to work out, like my circles totally change. So you want to think about all of that because on the days that I don't want to work out, inevitably I get a text from one of my best friends or whatever, like, hey, how was your workout today? Or I get, I talk to one of my girlfriends in California and, we talk about what's bothering me or something. And I know now that what's going to help me get out of my funk is either a walk or a workout. It didn't take me 30 days to get here. It took me, what is this, 15 years later? It took me a long time. And do I get crazy over my fitness pal and tracking my macros? Only really when I'm going into a cut, when it really matters how I want to show up. I want to show up shredded. I want to show up with like a 12 pack, all that stuff. Then I'm really going to worry about my food. But for the most part, I developed skills so that now I can see what my food should look like. I know what's going to lead to my long-term strategy. Like this is a lifestyle for me. It's not anything that I'm changing up. Okay. So again, let me give you another analogy. When I was coaching and I had 60 women on my roster and I was working for this huge company, right? I would have to do like weekly talks for them. I think they were actually every 2 weeks, but the quickest way to silence a room of women is to ask them what they want and actually get an answer to that. Because when I ask people, what do you want? Like, what's your overall goal here? They tell me all the things that they don't want. And when they're like, I just want to lose 15 pounds, I just want to feel more confident in my skin, I just want to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what is that going to do for you? How will that improve your life? Like, honestly, like, just sit here and think about it. If you want to lose 15 pounds, if you want to feel more confident in your skin, what does that look like and feel like? How does that benefit your overall life? Because I could tell you how it benefits mine. I have friends that are totally whacked, that are crazy. I could go on a hike. I could run if somebody asked me to go for a run. If somebody challenges me to, I don't know, like a crazy bike. The other day, I was actually on the phone with a client. Let me get off the an ex-client, a former client, not an ex-client. That sounds so harsh. Uh, and she was telling me, what was she telling me? She was telling me about a friend of ours that was going to run a marathon on this friend's birthday. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Um, so one of our friends was running a marathon on my former client's birthday. And I was like, oh, you should totally run that marathon. Because again, I'm like holding the carrot here. Like, we should totally do it as a group. Like, we should run the marathon. And she was like, what? Like, I'm not a runner. And I was like, why? Like, how cool would that be? And then from there, it went to like, let's run this marathon. Then I was like, oh, before the week before, there's like a marathon, there's like a half marathon. So we were talking about doing that one. And then I was like, oh, we could wind it up with like the Disney Princess Marathon in February, and we could invite a whole bunch of girls, and it'll be so much fun. It'll be so. Who would have thought 15 years ago when I was trying to lose 10 pounds that my life would be like, let's travel, let's do this fun stuff, and like have an amazing time. And like now that's how I have an amazing time. I'm not going out to like, dinner or girls' nights or whatever because you come home and you're still in that same pot of like, okay, I had girls' night and now I have to get back onto this plan. And it's like, why would you do that? It sounds miserable. It sounds miserable. But when you talk about like, hey, today I get to go for a hike with blah, 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 and today I'm meeting so and so at the gym and I'm going to feel confident in my clothes and like, I got a new workout set and I'm going to make myself a new playlist and all that stuff. Again, I want you guys, honestly, and this is one of the exercises that I have my clients do. At sunrise, I always have them kind of wake up for a sunrise because if you don't do that already, that's one of the huge tricks of like making yourself feel better every single day. Wake up at sunrise, but sunrise is where things are created. So I want you to catch a sunrise and I want you to create a vision of yourself. Who is that future you? And what habits do we need to stack in? Imagine yourself when you've lost the weight, when you feel confident in your skin. What does your life look like there? What things do you no longer have to worry about, and what things can you then enjoy? And start to make that list because that connection is what's going to hold you into your plan. Okay. Very, very important. So if you've been stuck in the science of achievement, chasing quick fixes and short-term results, it's time to shift your gears. You don't need another restrictive diet or an unsustainable workout plan. You need systems that support the future you. So again, what to do next? Define your future self. Get out there at sunrise. Take your journal. Who do you want to be in 6 to 12 months? How do you want to feel? How do you want to move? How do you want to fuel your body? Again, write it down. Look into it like you're getting that picture. Let yourself get that picture and jot down every note. Map out one actionable step that you're going to take this week. Maybe it's tracking your food, right? Maybe it's focusing on protein. Again, what's your ideal body weight in protein? That's the amount of grams of protein that you want to have. Okay. And if you can't get there, aim for 100 grams of protein. If you can't get to 100 grams, aim for 80 and then gradually increase it, right? Maybe you could start strength training twice a week if you're not doing that yet. Okay. Or maybe if you're not getting out for movement, you could just simply start walking daily. Keep it realistic and sustainable. Don't go out there and be like Nora said, 100 grams of protein. Nora said walk every day. Nora said lift every day. Like, obviously, everybody knows, but how are we going to build that into? That was the point of my coaches. My coaches showed me how to build it in. And was I perfect, guys? Absolutely not. But the most important thing was when I wasn't perfect, I was looking for support from my coaches, from my friends, and on those days that I didn't feel like doing it, I had a whole cheering team that was cheering me on, or that was saying, all right, you know what? Today's not a big deal. We'll talk about this again tomorrow. And that's the most important thing. So map out one actionable step that you can take this week. Maybe it's focusing on protein, strength training twice a week, or simply walking daily. Keep it realistic and sustainable. Tag me on social media at probably on Instagram, right? It would be at rise underscore and underscore roar underscore fitness. I know my brother makes fun of me about that all the time. But I want to see what you're committing to, and sharing your goals makes you so much more likely to follow through. You can even come into our Facebook group. There's a link under my podcast in the show notes that will show you where that group is. Most importantly, send this episode to a friend who needs to hear it. If you know a woman who's constantly starting over, help her break the cycle. Guys, make like make a buddy squad. You can break the cycle together. Let's build a movement of strong, thriving women over 50. And if you're ready for real guidance, no crash diets, no gimmicks, just science-backed, results-driven coaching, I've got a spot for you in my online roster. I coach women online for a minimum of 6 months because real change takes time. All you have to do is DM me, I'm ready, or apply through the link in the show notes, and then we can get to work. All right. But I really want to encourage you to start. If you fall off the wagon, listen, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to have those days. Just get back on. That's the most important thing. The best time to start building the future you was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Thanks, guys, so much for coming. And I hope that you got so much out of this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a comment. And again, recommend this podcast so we can start growing. Have a great day.